Welcome to SVG-TV News for Tuesday, June 10th, 2014. I am Jennifer Richardson with the details. The refurbished pediatric ward at the Milton Cater Memorial Hospital was on Monday, June 9th officially reopened. The project was funded by the United Children of the World Foundation in association with the World Pediatric Project. Head of the Pediatric Department, Dr. Harati Datta, says the event marks the culmination of dreams by a number of persons who continue to work towards the development of the hospital.
During this journey, we waged several wars and won most of them. Gastroenteritis deaths were down, the incidence of malnutrition declined, our work with PAHO and UNICEF was recognized, our immunization rates went up, and then we were hit with pediatric AIDS, child abuse. Our neonatal health showed up a few challenges. Some more work was needed. And then about 12 years ago, the World Pediatric Project happened, and suddenly life took a different turn. We're now looking at and accessing tertiary health care from some of the best US hospitals for our children and by extension the children of the region. We are attending these children under very special clinics, one clinic a month, and almost every surgical specialties. We call them our missions, the WPP missions of doctors and teams and nurses who come down here and give us their service.
And President of the World's Pediatric Project, Susan Rickman, says the reopening of the pediatric wing is both historic and heart-lifting.
Cutting the ribbon on a totally new, renovated and equipped pediatric ward proves when good people get together, incredible things happen. As I look out at this distinguished crowd, to the many people who have fulfilled different roles, it begs repeating what Dr. Datta says. It takes a village to heal a child. 12 years ago, WPP began its journey of providing critical care services in partnership with Milton Cater Memorial Hospital and Dr. Datta to St. Vincent's Children's. Since then, 63 teams of 9 different pediatric subspecialties have come to this hospital performing 667 surgeries. 220 children were identified and brought to WPP partner hospitals in the U.S. who required advanced services. 112 of those children were open heart surgeries and 16 with brain tumors. All in all, US $43 million worth of services have provided to 3,500 children we have seen over the years. Another thing to truly celebrate today.
Minister of Health Clayton Bergen says it is heartening to witness the reopening of the ward, which comes at a cost of 1.2 million EC dollars.
Project, which will provide a more caring and healing environment for the nation's pediatric patients and their families. You will note that it is a multi-phase renovation of the existing pediatric ward, which has been designed to add capacity with the addition of 11 pediatric beds from 25 to 36. This number, however, does not include the neonatal intensive care unit bassinet. In addition, the outpatient clinic zone has been increased to a 6-bed pediatric critical care unit that includes 1 born unit bed with new staff, bathroom facilities and storage facility in this very area. The general pediatric critical care unit has been increased to a 10-bed general pediatric area. There are now separate male and female children's bathrooms, a larger dining area to also accommodate relatives, and also office facilities for the medical practitioners.
Prime Minister Dr. Rav Gonsalves has described the Passport Amendment Bill as straightforward, saying that it deals mainly with aspects of the law, validating certain fees and effecting better administration in the issuance of passports.
There is absolutely nothing sinister about this bill. From the time this bill came on the order paper, some of the wildest exaggerations, untruths and falsehoods were propagated about this bill. I've referred it elsewhere in public comments as scaremongering tactics at their worst.
This is the PM's response to the opposition, which accused the government of moving forward with a bill which, in their opinion, exonerates any wrongdoing in the issuance of passports by consulates, particularly the one in New York, a claim that the Prime Minister refuted.
The narrative was that this bill was brought to cover up or to exonerate corruption in the issuance of passports at the New York consulate. Mr. Speaker, it will take a particularly malicious mind, one devoid of right reason, to think that a government, any government, and especially this government, to do anything to exonerate corruption, to pass a bill to exonerate corruption.
Leader of the opposition, Anim Eustace, says that there are serious issues that needs to be addressed in the passport amendment bill. Prime Minister Dr. Rav Gansab said that the opposition was guilty of deploying scaremonger tactics, but according to Eustace, the concerns thrown out by the members on the opposition side are legitimate.
Listen very carefully to the Prime Minister's presentation on this bill. I listened also very carefully to some of the comments he made in relation to validation being done for RAPs and so on. That is not that is not the concern, Mr. Speaker. Our passports on the side of this sort are constantly being looked at. That's the climate in which we are discussing this bill. It was only a few years ago that the Canadian government imposed visa status on us. We have constant complaints from our countrymen of increasing difficulty for some of them in the diaspora. And this party, this opposition party is concerned, and the members here are concerned about further extensions, further incursions, which could lead to more of our people having to face visa requirements in other countries.
Meanwhile, the Passport Amendment Act 2014 was discussed on Hit Talk on Sunday. Panelist Fillmore Isaac says while he understands the need for amendments to some laws over time, he is concerned about this amendment. Isaac says persons in authority must act with responsibility and realize that they are accountable to the people, and therefore whatever they do must be transparent.
And maybe those in authority are expecting us to express so that they will be guided. But because we remain silent, sometimes silence gives consent. The overriding question here is, in the amendment which is proposed to us here, in the Passport Act, is there any reason for concern? That is what I'm asked to comment on, give an opinion on that. Given what I have seen and heard with respect to that amendment, yes, it gives me as a citizen of St. Vincent and the Grenadines reason for concern. Two things jump out at me in this matter. The issuing of the passport and the collection of the fees, because this is what this amendment addresses. So therefore, it raises concern. Was there some issuing of our Vincentian passports that was not regular, that was not in keeping with what was written as the responsibilities of the officer who issued them? Did he go out of line? And was somebody there? Something went wrong with the collection of fees? That's what I'm asking as a citizen of this country. So that would be my concern. Maybe in the debate in the House, that would be said. But people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, I believe, have a right to know if that is so. And if we are going to be transparent, and if we are talking about good governance and we are going forward, then we need to take everything in board.
According to Isaacs, too often civil society remains silent on such national issues and therefore deepens the darkness, afraid of being labeled.
But if I, as a citizen, question it and ask questions about it or comment on that legislation, am I scaremongering? Am I to be shut up to say, Isaacs, you have no right to ask that because you're not a lawyer? No, I am a citizen. Passport is issued to me. I pay the fees. In fact, I got the passport today. And passport will be issued to other citizens of St. Vincent and Grenadines. And we ought to be able to discuss as citizens who get our passport, who issue our passport, who collect what money is for us on that, and whether the monies are legitimately passed into the government, into our coffers or not. We ought to be able to answer those questions and ask them as citizens. And I don't think I'm scaring anybody, and I don't have anything against anybody by asking that. I'm just asking that as a member of society because I want to be governed properly.
Prime Minister Dr. Rav Gonsalves is calling on local media practitioners to investigate what he describes as falsehoods found in some advertisements on national television. Speaking at the reopening of the pediatric ward on Monday, Prime Minister Dr. Rav Gonsalves says he cannot turn a deaf ear to unfounded attacks and untruths in some advertisements on television. Dr. Gonsalves called on the media to highlight the untruths, even though they are found in advertisements.
They must call out the untruths, and they must ask the question, which rich benefactor is contributing for a man to have 3 television ads a night on national TV? Because for sure, he doesn't have the money to pay for them. Now, he's of no consequence in the politics of the country. And maybe that's why the media don't pay him any mind. But surely, truth and decency ought to dictate that he be called out on the falsehoods.
Speaking specifically to the contribution made annually by the Mustique Company, Dr. Gonsalves says yearly the company contributes approximately 100 million EC dollars.
The Mustique Company employs over 1,000 persons. Not only persons who are working within the homes of the wealthy persons who own homes in Mustique. The chief financial controller is of Vincentian. The deputy chief financial controller is also Vincentian. A woman who comes from humble beginnings in South of us. And I affirm yet again that the Mustique Company makes an immense contribution to the national economy of this country and also to employment and training.
The bodies of Othniel Delpesh and his 9-year-old son, Ito, were discovered yesterday along the shoreline in the Newgrounds area, a short distance from where they disappeared on Saturday after encountering difficulties in the waters at the Sans Souci beach. While 2 other persons who were in the water managed to survive the ordeal, the 39-year-old football coach and his son weren't so fortunate. Dale De Silva has the story in this report.
According to relatives, Othniel Delpesh was making his way home, having gone to Mount Gwenan earlier Saturday morning, when his son Ito requested that his father take him and 2 other relatives turned to the beach at Sans Souci. While there, it was reported that the youths had not ventured out too far when they were swept away by a wave and immediately found themselves in trouble, battling against the tides. One of the survivors told SVG-TV that he recalled seeing his brother, Ito, wave at him for help, He said that the boy grabbed onto his shorts, but a wave swept the 9-year-old away. At this point, he said that he saw his father diving in an effort to save his brother, and according to the young survivor, his father successfully took hold of his brother, but that was the last he saw of them both. Despite the tragic loss, however, Effie Delplish, mother of Othniel and grandmother of Ito, said that she was grateful that both bodies were recovered. She explained that while at the scene where her son's body was recovered on Monday, as they waited for the authorities to conduct a necessary investigation, the body of her grandson was washed ashore.
We had to look for one and then go back and look for another one. So that was a real blessing to us, the family. Everybody has felt so good for the recovery of the bodies, and we just want to say thank God for that.
Delplish said that the family is now trying to come to grips with the loss, saying that they are staying strong together. The grieving grandmother said the family is now concentrating on making funeral arrangements, and that in the same way they went missing together, were recovered together, so too son and father will be laid to rest together. Dale De Silva, SVG-TV Evening News.
And coming up, Belmont Man Corps Fisherman of the Year Award with almost 1,000 pounds of fish. More stories on the local scene when SVG-TV News continues. Don't go away. Welcome back. Andrew Gould is a 2014 Fisherman of the Year, hauling in the heaviest catch of 998 pounds on Monday, commonly referred to as Fisherman's Day. The title is the second for the Belmont resident, having won the title back in 2007. He walked away with a 75 horsepower Yamaha 2-stroke outboard engine and trophy, among other prizes. Gould beat Matter John, who recorded the second heaviest catch of the day with 933 pounds. Other notable catches on the day came from Leslie Hazelwood, who took in the heaviest catch in the second class with 242 pounds, and Orla Matthews of Camden Park taking in the biggest haul to capture another title in the female competition. According to officials of the Fisheries Division, there was a decline in the number of entries. However, the total catch amounted to more than that recorded in 2013. The official results indicate that 44 boats entered with 24 returning, with a total catch of 7,259 pounds. This compared to 69 entries with 39 returning and 6,989.5 pounds in 2013. Gould told SVG-TV News he was aided by his GPS under the hazy conditions, and he also credited his crew for the role they played in helping him to secure his second Fisherman of the Year title.
My crew helped me a lot, because I believe in my crew. Because my crew tell me, Cap, we win it today, and I believe in them, and we win it today. I go out on the sea this morning, we went out after 5, and my crew said to me, he said, Cap, all the boat done gone already. I said, oh, the boat done gone. We will make it today. And when we catch the fish, I tell my crew, let us go Calico because we don't have the engine. My crew tell me, Cap, no, we have the engine. I said, we have the engine. Let us go to Calico. And we come to Calico, we have the engine. And I'm proud of that.
A total of 7 new houses were last Friday, June 6th, handed over free of cost to residents of Langley Park who were affected by the December 2013 trough system. The recipients are Veronica Williams, Veronica Bascom, Leon Adams, Victoria Burke, David Burke, Ivan Adams, and Julie Glasgow. In his address, Chairman of the Housing and Land Development Corporation, Beresford Phillips, says while much has been achieved since the December floods, there is still more to be completed.
To date, we have completed 81 houses. Among these are the remnants of damages from Thomas and the floods of April 11. We will continue to work tirelessly to ensure that no one is left unattended. I wish to thank the Ministry of Housing for allowing us to execute this massive project. I must also recognize and pay homage to the persons who have given of their time beyond the call of duty to to ensure timely execution of this project, not excluding my own members of staff at the Housing and Land Development Corporation under the managerial leadership of Mr. Elvis Trials.
And Minister of Housing, Informal Human Settlement, Lands and Surveys and Physical Planning, Montgomery Daniel, says he's extremely proud to be the representative of the area at the time when the 7 houses are presented to the residents.
Having done these 7 houses, there is also another 6 houses to be built, and these should be built at Carnival on lands which the government will seek to acquire in the not too distant future. We had some problems earlier on, but the government is in the process of finalizing in having those lands vested to the government. Again, we are in the process of having further lands in Dixon. As a matter of fact, there is a willing seller for 2 acres of lands in Dixon. And so the chief surveyor is at the moment in negotiations with that willing seller.
Meanwhile, Prime Minister Dr. Rav Gonsalves, in his address, says following the December floods, which saw in excess of 300 persons going into shelters, to date, some 117 persons are still in shelters, a figure he says is still too many.
And bit by bit, we will have all of them out of the shelters. Because we are building the homes, and we are repairing their homes, and we are building new homes. We are living in times where we have what you'll listen on the television, climate change, global warming. The weather has become hugely unpredictable.
The project is said to have a price tag of $650,000. Each house has 2 bedrooms, a living and dining room, a kitchen and a bathroom and a toilet. A memorandum of cooperation for the implementation of the National Biosafety Frameworks project was today signed between the Ministry of Health, Wellness and the Environment and the National Steering Committee on Biosafety. The purpose of the MOC, according to Dr. Sylvester Lynch, is to provide a framework for cooperation and coordination between the signatories in effecting the national biosafety frameworks and to provide the necessary scientific, technical and administrative support to achieve the desired outputs of the components of the project. Dr. Lynch pointed out that the launch of the project in 2013, both the Ministry of Health, Wellness and Environment and the National Steering Committee on Biosafety have been fulfilling their roles in the implementation of the frameworks.
The fact that we have been having several meetings and we have been participating in the decision making in certain aspects of the project speaks volume to your commitment and cooperation in this regard. And to that end, it is quite satisfactory to the project. This MOU commits us to work together more closely towards achieving the general objective of the project. That is, to implement effective, operable, transparent, and sustainable biosafety frameworks. Each side will no doubt pursue many significant activities, particularly those relating to the regulatory and the administrative systems, which are essential pillars in the biosafety management system. And as such, top priority items for the ministry's agenda on the implementation of the national biosafety frameworks.
He said at the end of it all, he would like to see the effective and efficient national biosafety management system in place for SVG.
I firmly believe that through our efforts and commitment, we will be able to achieve a great deal in the development of national biosafety systems and win the public's confidence that indeed adequate protection of human, animal health, and our pristine biodiversity are indeed effective. Be assured that I will do whatever I can in order to provide a successful implementation of this Memorandum of Understanding.
And the police are investigating the circumstances surrounding the death of Junior Mackey, 42-year-old laborer of Clare Valley, which occurred at about 9:15 a.m. at Kittels yesterday. Reports are that Mackey was struck on the right side of his face with a stone during a dispute at the Kittels beach. He subsequently succumbed to his injuries. A post-mortem examination is expected to be performed on the body to ascertain the cause of death. Stay with us. We'll be right back with Carnival Beat. Welcome to Carnival Beat. A new queen representing the St. George's was the last Friday crowned at TTO's in Arnesville as part of Carnival action in the Western East St. George constituencies. Meanwhile, Josanne captured the first place position in the St. George's Soca Monarch competition, with Mr. Blues in second place and Music Vision in the third spot. Jamisha Wright tells us more on the pageant in this report.
Melissa Kane of Glen was last Friday night crowned Miss St. George's 2014. Kane secured the Miss Photogenic Award and was adjudged Best Evening Wear and Best Interview.
Human activities are said to be contributing to the depletion of the ozone layer. What are some of the ways in which we can help to prevent further destruction of the ozone layer?
We can prevent further destruction of the ozone layer by burning less garbage and start by recycling and reusing old refrigerators and by maximizing the use of solar energy to minimize the burning of fossil fuels.
Securing the first runner-up position was Miss Fairhall Daniela Duo, who also took the Best Swimwear Award. Naisha Richards of Belair had to settle for the second runner-up position. Meanwhile, Danica Charles captured the Best Talent in Miss Congeniality Awards.
I want a blackberry. He said he would take care of me, and he could be my sweet sugar daddy. I said, Mr. Hold up a little while. Don't you know that I am a school child? He said he don't care for my mind now. We could just keep it undercover. You come with your sweet talk, watching me like a shark, but you better go take a walk.
Reporting for Carnival Beat, I am Jamisha Wright.
Meanwhile, the Owe Sports and Cultural Organization is reporting another successful carnival for 2014. The carnival activities started off on Friday night with a fashion extravaganza, followed by Juve in the wee hours of Saturday morning. On Saturday afternoon, the revelers were back on the streets in Owe for the Jump Up, featuring for the first time Mass. The activities climaxed with the River Lime, which, according to the group, attracted its biggest audience for the weekend. Owe Carnival was this year sponsored by Lime and the St. Vincent Brewery Limited.
You're right.